Thank you so much. I guess if you are here, you already know what DePIN is, decentralized physical infrastructure. But DePIN is really not about memes, right? Last 1 year, the crypto market was pretty much driven by memes, meme coins, and a lot of things that didn't have real use cases. But now we are finally shifting more towards DePIN, which is the crypto that really has revenue and intrinsic value. I think if one day, if Warren Buffett invests in crypto, it will be in a DePIN project, right? Because it really has real on-chain revenue.
I like that.
So let's start with some introductions. So I will start with Io. Okay, yep. So Io is from Future Money. Can you tell us a bit more about what you do in your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me here. My name is Io, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm an investor. So back in 7 or 8 years ago, we founded a Future Money Group. So we invest in different things in crypto. My interest to invest something different, something people choose to overlook. And back in, I guess, 2022, I think DePIN is a pretty overlooked sector in crypto because people love to, hype around, layer ones or anything like, infrastructure token. But we think, DePIN is a fat tail in crypto, and it can actually, create external value. That's something even more exciting, as you mentioned. Something that could be fundamentally analyzed. So we, jump into the rabbit hole about 3 years ago. We basically invest full stack in DePIN, from manufacturing, hardwares, venture capital deals, and also we have a secondary fund which is called DePIN Index. So we index about like 25 DePIN tokens. We track their performance. We just built this portfolio. So far we are pretty good and pretty happy with the future of DePIN.
Okay, that DePIN index sounds very interesting. I want to learn more about it, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Will. So Will is the founding partner at Generative Ventures. We have invested, in fact, we are all here in the VC space, right? And actually we have a few projects that we have invested in common in the past, including DePIN projects. So Will, can you tell us a bit about yourself and Generative Ventures?
Thank you. So I have been doing venture capital for 15 years. We started with investing in mobile internet with money from Bertelsmann, which is the largest media company in Europe. And we spin off our crypto investment practice 2 years ago to invest in the next generation fintech. So we look at the crypto from a purely fintech perspective, and we think fintech is all about matching the capital and also the asset. And also we think the machine could be the next generation asset for a born natively for crypto. So that's why we had an investment thesis in DePIN. And also internally, we call it not DePIN, we call it machine economy, because we for sure in the future, the physical AI will be a big part of the economy. And we think it's also be relevant to fintech and finance, and also crypto will be a big part of it. So that's why we had a thesis for DePIN, and also in our fund we have a kind of like both angel check and also a Series A check for DePIN as well. I think we have shared project in Peak and also in a couple of DePIN projects as well. So far we are happy with all the tractions of these deals, and also the market performance as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree with you. I prefer the term machine economy over DePIN. Yeah, and Yushan from Waterdrip Capital also investing very actively in DePIN, right?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, this is Yushan from Waterdrip Capital. I entered crypto industry like 10 years ago, and before that, I was an engineer. I was doing chips design, so that's why I'm so familiar with the hardware stuff. And I'm very interested in DePIN, like 3 years ago. And Waterdrip Capital actually was founded 7 years ago with a few friends of mine. And originally we were in Shanghai, and then we moved to Hong Kong right here. And we were one of the very first capitals who got crypto license in Hong Kong. So currently we are managing 4 funds, one secondary market, one VC, and one Bitcoin only, and one hedging fund. Yeah. And why we are interested in DePIN, as I said, I was an chip design engineer, so I think the machine economy or the hardware stuff is my interest. And also because we are based in China, and China is good at manufacture. So I think compared with all the other topics like ZK, like layer 2 and all those software stuff, so probably we have some advantages in hardware stuff. Yeah, that's why we invest in DePIN.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for the introduction. And finally, my name is Henry. I used to work for HashK Capital, where we have invested in Peak, for example, project that I think we almost all here know very well. Currently, I'm a venture partner at Harbor Industrial Capital, and I work closely with other projects, including Peak, and also investing at Be Limitless Ventures. All right, so let's start with EO. So Future Money, right? You guys started a DePIN accelerator. Sounds very exciting. Started, I think, late 2023.
24.
Yep. Can you tell us a bit about the accelerator and what excites you the most in the DePIN space that you have been incubating or accelerating?
Yeah, sure. So for us, I think DePIN is like a multi-disciplinary sort of field, and you need different talents, you need different resources, and we basically teamed up with I think IoTex and Foresight Ventures. We picked them because IoTex, there are great ways of infrastructure, technology, all the tokenomics. They're veterans in crypto. And also Foresight Ventures, they are experienced investors as well, and they have great outreach in Asia. So we team up with these two partners, and we launched this DePIN accelerator I think last year, and we actually ended up receiving more than I think 200 applications, which is I would call it a success, I think. And we've seen very interesting innovations in the accelerator itself. Something we never seen before, something that totally come outside of the box of pure crypto people. We've seen interesting tracks like weather, we call it WeatherFi, and also we see interesting projects in energy. These are very interesting, I think, fields where the Wall Street firms are spending over hundreds of millions of dollars building infrastructure and collecting data in. And I think these are very highly compatible with the blockchain technology, because we're so good with decentralized building, distributed systems, collecting data from the real world, and bring them on chain and tokenize these assets. And I think in the future we're going to see more and more innovations in this field. We do not only limit ourselves with the thesis of DePIN, but rather a field where we can bridge the on-chain and digital and physical. We tend to look into the cross-border of both digital and physical. We call it phygital, the phygital connection in the AI era. And I think so you can keep looking into this field.
So you briefly talked that you have invested in WeatherFi, which is very interesting. This is the first time I hear the term WeatherFi, and also energy. Among these DePIN sectors, what are the ones that you are most bullish about?
I think they're still these projects are still very in their early stage. And I think, as you mentioned, WeatherFi, I think the reason I think weather is an interesting field is because I talked to my friends at Citadel, the trading firm. They have the team. They have team of hundreds of people trading commodities related to the weather, and that is a market you can create limitless derivatives out of weather or specific incidents in the real world. I think that is very crypto. That is a very crypto thing to me, and also I think AI can grab and generate data from the internet, but it's very hard for AI or for AI agents to generate something that is happening right now, right here, somewhere in specific parts of the world. So we need build the infrastructure like hardware and also oracles to bring this data on chain. So that's why I think the whole thing makes sense. Same with energy and a lot of other areas.
Okay, I can definitely see weather trading and weather arbitrage potentially happening there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Yushan, so at Waterdrip Capital, so far you guys have invested in over 200 different projects, right? And probably a good number of them are DePIN projects. Can you give some examples and tell us what you think about the future of DePIN? What excites you the most in this space?
Well, we have invested in over 30 projects in the past 2 years in this DePIN area. And the reason why we moved from all the other topics to DePIN is if you look at the current market, it's really bad. It's crashing, especially for altcoins. Bitcoin is great. Bitcoin will increase 10 times in coming years, but for altcoins, I doubt it. I'm not sure. The reason is that people are, tons of tokens are generated every day. So most of them are, don't have any value. So some of them are just for hyping trade or for emotional trading. So in other words, they are gambling. They didn't deliver any value. So this is why the reason that the smart money are living. When the smart money is living, so what will be left? The shit coins, right? But for DePIN projects, they are totally different. For most of the DePIN projects we have invested in, they have some revenue, or even they have some profits. For example, we invested in one project called Jumbo phone. This is a DePIN phone. So they have already sold probably more than 500,000 or 700K, around 700K phones in the past 1.5 years. So that means they have revenue, they have good revenue, they have good profits, and they are sustainable. And they can use their profits to buy back and burn their tokens. And I don't worry about their token price. So if more and more projects learn from Jumbo and they have their real cash inflow, and what will become for our crypto market, I think it will be much better than now. And before our panel, I was discussing with Will that probably for those projects, they don't need to issue token if in this market, all the tokens are shitcoins. And for those good projects, they won't live here. They will issue shares instead of tokens. So I think we count on DePIN projects to change the current situation. Yeah, and that's why we prefer exploring in DePIN area. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because a lot of the crypto haters say, oh, crypto is not backed by anything. And meme coins are definitely not backed by anything, but unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we see many crypto institutions, including exchanges, for example, prioritizing listing meme coins over listing actually projects with like DePIN projects, for example. And I think we need to get real about crypto, about on-chain revenue, and DePIN projects you have from weather projects, the example of the mobile phone, self-driving cars, tokenization of solar panels, and so on. And these are projects that bring on-chain revenue that really bring intrinsic value to crypto, right, and bring real value to crypto. So that's very exciting that you are focusing on that. Will, what's your take on this? And Generative Ventures, also super active in investing in crypto infrastructure. You have invested in Peak, for example. Can you tell us a bit more about your investment thesis and how do you see infrastructure and even the connection between DePIN and AI?
Yeah, our investment thesis recently is very clear. I think there were two kind of assets going into this market to replace the hype of or the downturn of the altcoins. The first kind of asset is called public goods. We think that the projects with real value but has no revenue can be cryptonized and also be priced in this market. And sadly, we haven't seen this in the past 10 years. For example, how can we tokenize Wikipedia? How can we tokenize DeepSeek open source version? How can we tokenize Linux. These are the open source project, has real value, no revenue, cannot be priced in the equity market, but should be priced by the token. But the founders of them cannot go into this market, and they don't want to, or they cannot do it. So there should be a way to tokenize these public goods and also have a pricing in this market. I think crypto is perfect to price those projects, I said, without revenue, but with real value. So these are the things that I think will go into the market to replace the current oversupply and offering of all these altcoins. And DePIN is part of this. So if there is a physical infrastructure that cannot generate revenue, but is really benefiting to the users, for example, in weather, in data. Yesterday I talked to a company called Protect Campus from drone attack, and they use some kind of device, and they call themselves DePIN. So if these things, if this network is recognized by the user, recognized by the user means that they have value, but they maybe cannot generate sizable revenues, they can be tokenized and have a price. But we don't expect this price to be ridiculously high. We think there will be some moderate, medium price in the market that is giving pricing to these public goods projects. So this is the first. And second, I think it's going into the market is called RWA. But what I said is, if you want mainstream financial money going in this market, you need to have mainstream financial assets. And here in this market, we don't have. Bitcoin is not mainstream financial asset. Ethereum is not. The only mainstream financial asset is T-bills. But we still have, Ondo is only doing wrapping for this T-bill. We don't have chain native generated T-bill in the market. So when the Ministry of Finance or whatever in US is launching the native generated T-bill in the crypto, and we're seeing that in the RWA, that will create a risk-free asset layer for the whole market, and then will attract mainstream money into this sector. Otherwise, only Bitcoin will attract mainstream money into this sector because the others are not recognized as mainstream. And lastly, I think we have to re-evaluate this market from a perspective of financial influence. So yesterday, I wrote a tweet about Ethereum and Solana. If you consider Ethereum as an asset management company, it's the same size as Santander Bank, which is only a 100 billion company. If you compare it to MasterCard, it is a 500 billion market. So the sadness of Ethereum is outsourcing all the payment solutions to layer 2 and only leaving the asset management business at the layer 1. So that's why the value of Ethereum is going down, because asset management is less valuable than the payment networks, which always has a monopoly and also have premium on their profits. And also for Solana, if you consider as asset management company, it's only several billion. It's even smaller than the largest P2P in China. But if you consider it as a payment network, it's transacting $1 trillion a year. It's 1/9 of MasterCard, which is, Solana valuation is 1/9 of MasterCard right now. So if you evaluate all these projects from the perspective of financial impact, it's pretty clear all of the projects are in fair value right now. But also for the altcoin, I think it's not in fair value, it's overvalued, because most of the altcoin does not have any financial impact in the real world. But I think DePIN will have, because in the future, if we pay daily to the robo-taxi when we want to go out, and it's a huge economy. And also if your computer is using, for example, product like Manus generating real revenue, you can call itself a general AI agent, but if your local server and computation is really generating revenue and value, I think these machines can be priced in the long term. So I think that's why our vision on DePIN is more on the AI influence on the machines that generating revenue, generating productivity will be priced in the end as well. So my take is all the altcoins right now are overvalued in terms of financial impact, but there's a potential in the future on revenue generating, productivity generating machines can be priced and transact in the future. And also data, right? Data will be more and more valuable in the future, and there is no real data exchange, not talking about Vana and shit projects. There are no real data exchange in the market that can transact AI-empowered data. So we need that kind of infrastructure as well. So a lot to be done by the VCs.
So this on-chain revenue that is being generated by the machine economy can bring us to machine finance, right? Where we can have DePIN projects, machine economy projects, where we can tokenize revenue, we can tokenize bonds that self-repay according to the revenue that is generated on-chain. So it's a total new world of DeFi that we can call machine-fi, right?
Yeah, my clarification is like, crypto can tokenize impact, not revenue. So if there's a real financial impact, Ethereum has no revenue. Revenue only goes to stakers. Ethereum network itself has no revenue, but has a huge financial impact. So crypto is tokenizing impact, first of all. Second, it's not also tokenizing value. I think equity market is actually pricing revenue. We are pricing asset. So asset may have revenue, but also asset can also have no revenue but scarcity. Bitcoin is an asset has no revenue but scarcity. So we are also pricing scarcity in a way. So I think pricing scarcity and tokenizing impact is the key to enlarge your influence in the crypto market, not tokenizing revenue, because revenue is not a scarcity here. Every company can have some revenue, so it's not scarcity, it's not unique. It cannot have a premium on the price. But revenue in aggregation can be priced in equity market and had a fair price, and sometimes has a hype because there's a short of supply of equity-backed crypto-related project and revenue in the equity market. But there were so many oversupply of the crypto alternative narrative-driven project in here in the crypto market. Even not only for Web3, even for Web2, there are 800 unicorns in US and 500 unicorns in China going to be listed. It's also an oversupply. So you only see the price hype of the Magnificent Seven, but not the price hype of all the other assets in the equity market. So we are trying to find scarcity. We're trying to find impact. That's the thing that I think will be valued in the long term in the crypto market. Yeah.
Awesome. Io, do you have any take on what Will just says?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Will just said, and to his point, I think I'm a big supporter of tokenizing everything, digitize everything. I think in the future, in probably 5 years to come, we're going to probably tokenize and digitize everything. First of all, we human beings, we're going to be digitized. We're going to be digitized as digitized, creatures. We're going to live in the metaverse. We're going to live in the computer instead of like just have the physical being. The AI algorithms and agents will, keep us, in eternity in the digital world. And also, we're going to be able to price everything. They say everything has a price, and I agree with that. I mean, it may sound a little bit crazy, but we can literally price everything, here in this room. Maybe your table, your bottle of water, your pair of glasses, your pair of shoes, and also every single human activity can be priced. We can price, we can predict, we can hedge against, all the good and bad things in our life. We can probably predict whether it rains next week in Bangalore, to hedge the change in corn price in New Delhi. We can probably generate a decentralized CPI index, which could be more, accurate and even, cheaper, faster than what the government does. I think this is going to be replaced by a lot of like technology and startups, and Web3, people instead of relying on centralized entities. I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. And what I'm pretty happy about, this recent meme token craze is that we should probably learn from, the new generations where like, people who trade meme coins, who call themselves like degens. We should probably learn from these people and try to connect these two worlds. We should probably use DePIN networks to collect the data and generate tokens where people can trade and bet or hedge against, the price changing these tokens to create a dynamic market for everything in this world, physical things or human activities or whatsoever you call it. This is a DePIN world that I'm happy to see. Yeah. That's my take.
I really like what you said regarding everything can be priced, and blockchain and especially DePIN infrastructure can bring us the infrastructure that we need to price everything in a more transparent manner, which brings huge opportunities in so many different areas. Do you think we have already the infrastructure needed to scale DePIN? I know that Future Money has been investing in this space. What's your opinion?
We're looking for like there are two different theses. One is like it's like layer one blockchains. Like some people think there's going to be a monolithic layer ones for all. It's like they're one single solution for all. But to me, I think it's more like different pieces of Lego. You have to like build them together. As I mentioned, I think we should probably learn from what people call the crypto casino, and we should find the positive use cases for this casino. What if we connect the casino, the back end of a casino, to something that collects data from like say agriculture? What if we combine these two? What if we find the positive externality of say crypto casino? I think this is going to be something that's going to be like very infrastructural to what we want to build, what we intend to build. I don't think things happen in a linear way. Things only happen in a non-linear way, and we should probably be prepared for that. So I think that's what VCs and early stage investors are positioned for.
Yeah, you have been focusing a bit on the weather side. Now I cannot recall the project, but there is a DePIN project that launched a weather satellite. And with the latest AI capabilities, they can predict the weather like with 99% accuracy, which is really cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Do you know this? I cannot recall the project now, but they launched a satellite for weather.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think like even before Web3, there are like a bunch of projects out there already. They're supplying this data to hedge funds and making a pretty legit revenue. I think they have a legit business model. And if we can just decentralize and tokenize the entire business, I think that's going to be even more efficient. Probably takes only like 3 to 5 engineers to do this business instead of like 50 people, do a data supply business. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's continue talking about the intersection between DePIN and machine economy and AI. Yushan, what do you think we are going to see emerging from DePIN with AI? We will see like AI agents managing machines that are owned by DAOs. Like, is it going to be fleets of full self-driving cars managed by AIs, which are managed by a DAO? How do you see this happening?
Well, this is a very interesting question. So we know AI is dominating the whole world, not only crypto, but also the rest of the world. And the intersection of crypto and AI is also very important. I believe that it will bring a lot of innovations here. And some of them are just unimaginable. So people said that blockchain technology might be invented not for human being, but for AI and robots. Because for human being, we are governed by governments and policemen. But for AI, they are only live in on internet, and they don't have a governor. And if they want to live freely, and they need some technology to guarantee their liberty, and that is blockchain technology. And for those innovations, I believe there will be some really new stuff. For example, from my imagination or from my anticipation, I believe that in future there will be 3 layers for the whole world. And the first layer or the fundamental layer is the trusted environment, and that is guaranteed by blockchain technology. And the middle layer is some protocols like DePIN protocol or DeFi protocol and all the other protocols. And the third layer is some applications like DePIN application or DeFi application or and etc. So in this way, or in this environment, and the AI can can be very high, has very high. It's very beneficial for the AI applications. And I'll give you an example. So I talked with the founder of Jumbo. And originally, they were just, it's a mobile phone. It is similar to the traditional phones. There are many apps. And they have some Web3 wallet. And you can use the tokens right there. And it's very traditional. It's no difference. But they are targeting to change their phone into AI phone. How? They integrate AI agents. And means when you open the phone, there's no apps because we have a lot of apps. In my phone, I have more than 100 apps. That's very time consuming if I want to find some apps. And in future, we have a few agents, some for our travel management, some for our financial stuff, and some agents for our personal entertainment. And in this way, we don't need so many apps, and we just need some AI agents. And whether we need a DAO or not to manage all those AI agents, I'm not sure, because behind the DAOs, there are human beings. We want to get rid of the human beings. We don't need human beings. We just need trusted environment to run it automatically, and that's it. DAO is not a good it's not a good try, From my previous experience, there's no one DAO run perfectly. From the Ethereum Foundation or from some, decentralized DAO, it cannot get rid of human being totally. So it's not a good experiment. Yeah. I would rather run it, automatically by some trusted environment. Yeah. Which is guaranteed by blockchain technology, of course.
Exactly. So I recently read this paper. I cannot recall now who wrote the paper, but it's about the post-web world, where actually we will no longer interface with normal web UI, right? We will interface only with AI agents, and we ask the AI agents to do whatever we want them to do, right? Which is kind of what you were talking about. Will, how do you see the intersection with DePIN and AI, and what are the use cases that you are looking at? And how do you have the infrastructure already necessary to integrate these? I'm very excited about some projects. Recently, I was looking at Ex Machina. Ex Machina is a spin-off from Peak, tokenizing machines, and they are integrated with Fetch AI for AI agent coordination. So we can potentially have AI agents, right, managing the machines.
Yeah, we also invest in that project. I'm really excited about the founder. But I have to agree with Dashan. I think all the DAOs, most of the DAOs doesn't work, and most of them are criminal groups. So I really hate DAOs. Anyone come to me and tell me it's a DAO, I think you should be sent to prison. So because it's all involved human, and you claim that it's kind of like a protocol-driven whatever shit, but it's actually human behind. So I think DAOs are criminal groups, mostly to me. For AI and crypto, there will be huge intersection, but not in the way that currently people are thinking. I think, first of all, we have to really tokenize the open source AI projects because they don't have revenue, they have impact. So find a way to put those assets into our world and let people get excited about it and to support those open source projects. And recently, I think people in crypto are talking about the model context protocol, right? The MCP stuff, that there is a kind of like a open market and protocol-driven market network of application servers and also AI capabilities. I think this is also a big question for people not in crypto, but in cryptography, because MCP will involve a lot of trust and trustless issues in the future if you want AI to really leverage capabilities of the other servers and help and do things in representing the user. So I think in the long term, there are a huge topic in MCP, I think, for crypto. I hate all the all the decentralized whatever computing and whatever decentralized whatever data stuff. I think they price themselves too quick. They have to really ship something first. My belief is there will be a decentralized network of computing when local hosting and running and inference of the models on local servers and computers will happen in the next maybe 2 quarters, a year. Currently DeepSeek cannot run on mobile in the full stack. So we still need several generations of models to do that. But I believe there will be real decentralized network of computing machines in the future. Thinking about the computer and laptop at home can doing things that the typical university students can do in an internet environment. It's called agent. It's called some kind of low-level AGI. Is university graduates level of intelligence processing internet data. So if your computer can do that, generate output, productivity, I think there will be a time you will price that machine at home if it is really delivering some kind of GDP. So I think that kind of network will emerge with the evolution of AI. So that's why I spend 99% of my time right now in real AI stuff, not in crypto AI stuff, and I try to get a sense of it. And I believe most of the crypto investors cannot get access to those projects because crypto investors in Silicon Valley are ranked very low compared to the other AI investors. So if you're a responsible crypto investor and you're interested in AI, try to make yourself legit to talk to these AI founders, get real sense of what's going on, and then go back to crypto because you can always go back to crypto. It's a very free financial market. You can always come back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good take. And you just briefly talk about MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is, you can call it like APIs on steroids for AI agents to get data from real world. And I was just looking at the Uki robot there with Niels. And the Uki is actually a project is kind of doing this, right? Which is a decentralized machine perception to bring real world data, environment data, and navigation data for AIs and robots to be able to navigate the world, which is quite interesting. Io, what's your views on the AI and DePIN use cases and the stage, and how do you see the world 5 years from now?
Bullish. No, I was just kidding. If one word, just bullish. I know it's a hard time now, but I'm still bullish. I'm still optimistic, and I think my unpopular opinion is that if a lot of AI startups, if they keep failing raising money from traditional capital markets, they'll come to crypto. And I think that is the intersection between crypto and AI. We have to prove ourselves as crypto professionals. We have to prove ourselves to be faster, cheaper, and more efficient than the traditional crypto markets. Then more and more talents will come into crypto and build crypto native AI applications. I think that's where something interesting will happen. And I think that is the intersection, my opinion.
And Yushan, how do you see the world 5 or 10 years from now with DePIN, machine economy, AI?
No crypto?
And crypto, yeah.
Including crypto, right? Yeah, well, as I said, in 5 or 10 years, I believe that many AI applications will touch ground and go into thousands of, go into the families or go into the common people. So I think, and especially for the combination of DePIN and AI, this is very important, I think, for us, crypto guys. Yeah. And recently we have just invested in one project. It's called EdgeX. It's a combination of DePIN and AI. I think I can take this as an example. So it's a necklace and with a small box, and you can ask it anything because there's a DeepSeek model integrated inside it, and it replaces the traditional voice box or other stuff, non-AI stuff. And this is a combination. This is a cooperation project between Swarm's community and a Chinese team. And when the Swarm's team have a video call with this Shenzhen, with this team from Shenzhen, China, they were shocked by the price of this hardware, and they thought that the price should be like $100. Actually, it's less than $10. And this means that, okay, the first step, we need to make it as cheap as possible to make it affordable to everybody, to the retail side. And then, for the DePIN stuff. And then people will have a lot of opportunity and even for the poor guys, even for everybody, they can afford it. And then the DePIN devices will go into thousands and tens of thousands families, and they can use it. And then they understand that the combination between tokens and the devices is valuable. And then they understand that after you integrate AI big model, and it will help them to improve their quality of their life. And this is what I'm anticipating in the 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
You touched a very important point, which is one of the biggest entry barriers is the cost of hardware, right?
Of course.
I want to get opinion from all of you on this, because DePIN in machine economy allows us to lower the entry barrier, because if we can tokenize a solar farm and a power grid, potentially communities can bootstrap these solar farm, a small fleet of self-driving cars. But what's missing for that to happen? Is it regulations? Is it awareness? What are the next steps to have this kind of bootstrapping, expensive projects? And this could shift the power from big corporations to communities and individuals. But I guess there are still some barriers for that to happen, right?
Well, I want to mention that the recent tariff between, or the trade war between China and the US. After the trade war, I think the device will be much more expensive in the West than in the East. But blockchain is borderless. We don't have a border between blockchain, and even for DePIN devices, you can buy it from China with a very cheap price. And you can, for each DePIN device, it can be an NFT. You can buy an NFT, and then you have the hardware stuff, and it's much cheaper. And it will break the war between different countries due to the political stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we need kind of to wrap up. Will and Io, what's your final take on the next steps for DePIN mass adoption?
Recently, we invested in a project. They are trying to sell user both a consumer product and also a crypto token. And they emphasize a lot on how to build their consumer product in a very good way. They're trying to compete with PopMart, and they're trying to build something physical, aesthetically really perfect, and it's really beautiful. And people buy this consumer product, and they gift them with the token. So I think that makes me excited, because even 3 years ago in the NFT stage, we tried to tokenize, for example, Banksy paints or art pieces, but still failed, because at that time the transaction fee for having an NFT on Ethereum is so high. You have to pay like $3, $5 per transaction, which means all the NFTs have to be priced at $10K US, and that's the threshold for people to participate in a legit blue chip NFT. But nowadays, transaction on Base and also on Solana is super cheap. I think we still need to find a way to tokenize those art pieces, those rare stuff, those rare physical stuff in the long term. I think there will be a time people can collect these stuff. So I am not really addicted to DePIN the word. I'm addicted to, if the transaction cost lowered, what kind of asset can we bring to this market and make the transaction more cost efficient than the traditional equity financial market? So I think if in the future DePIN means like a small piece of machine generating profit and productivity should be priced, I think the only way to have a pricing and exchange on these objects is via blockchain as a very effective accounting and trading system, and versus the traditional way that you have an equity market or you build a website, P2P, whatever. I think that's less efficient. So efficiency is our power. People always ask and challenge the efficiency of crypto, but when I tell you the overall crypto settles like 20 trillion US dollar a year and only asking for 2 billion gas fee, which means only 1 base point transaction cost. It is actually much lower, 300 times lower than the global remittance cost. So if we can use that kind of transaction efficiency into smaller units of machine in the future, I think that's the way to think about this market.
Yeah, and that allows machine-to-machine communication, machine-to-machine payments, AI in the middle. Yeah. Iyo, what's our final take for DePIN global adoption?
I think crypto is still very small today, and we should look beyond the horizon. We should go out. I think the DePIN founders, or founders related to the word DePIN, should look outside. Should try to find users not only limited to the crypto users. Crypto users are extremely expensive to acquire because they are so easy to get distracted by this meme coin, by that trading or DeFi. They are very limited group of people in the world. You should go out. You should go to your specific field and raising attention from them, raising hardware is raising capital. It's the same. Just trying to find your way of acquiring a new share of market. I think that will give you an edge in the long term. That is my take.
All right. Iyo, Will, Yushan, thank you so much. I'm very thankful that we have spent this last almost 1 hour together talking about the most exciting use case in the crypto space. If anyone is interested in investing in the machine economy, come to us after the panel. And thank you so much.